Okay, looks like we got something going here. Hopefully it's not going to be all choppy. And we'll see what comes up here. Alright, there looks like there was a little delay in that. I went through and I deleted a bunch of programs and ran an analysis on the computer to make sure my computer was working. I'm getting pretty sick of computers and how they work, so we're waiting for the screen to pop up. It looks like I have a better image. If it starts lagging and chopping, my computer locks up and it's just no good. Anyway, what I've been through so far this weekend is 2 coats of clear and 3 sand outs. And this is the clear that's left. I put it all together and weighed it. It's still 59 ounces, so we're under the working now. Good. We're under the limited weight, but I started with this much and only used this much, but what you don't understand is I poured the thinned that I didn't use back into this. So this is continually getting thinner and thinner. The same amount of clear, just with more thinner in it. I think it'll be good for one more mix out where I'll pour half of this in one of my mixing cups and then fill it with thinner, shoot a coat, and pour it back in, and I won't have to thin it again. So that's how I do the clear. Anyway, it's getting better and better. Now, the fuselage is kind of shiny, but the wings are kind of flat because I've been sanding on them. Let's see here. Let's transition. There we go. That's a little choppy still, it looks like. Playbacks are 10. Anyway, we're going to get to inking. Maybe I'm just going to have to go back to uploading video. I hate the thought that I have to work that hard to do this, but whatever. We're going to start at the bottom. To make all the mistakes on the bottom. Let me move this up. Oh, it's all the way up. It's working a little chop. I think it's the internet. Anyway, I use India ink and Koh-i-Noor rapidograph pens. There's only a few sizes, about 2 or 3 sizes that I use. I usually use the .050. I'm going to use the 1 over 50, 1 over .50. They're approximately the same size. I tested it out on my old Thunderbolt to see how it would look, and it's just slightly larger. The second, the second, no, it's a little thinner, it looks like. You can't hardly tell the difference. But I tested it out on an old airplane to make sure that it was going to be okay as far as width goes. For inking, you're going to need some implements. This is a machinist scale. There's tape, about 5 layers of tape, 6 layers all the way around it, so that I can lay it on either side. And you're going to need a cork-back steel ruler. Make sure it has the cork back. It has to be up off the material. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some sandpaper and sand off the edge. Use some 600 to sand the edge off to make sure that there's no glue or nicks or whatever. Well, what these corporations do is they take all the money and they profit it. They don't put it back into R&D. And it's getting to be just like it was with the phone lines with dial-up. Well, we'll put you on a new pair. Yeah, a new pair of 100-year-old wires. Shit. So that and more people using the using the network at the same time results in, you know, you can only shove so much water through a 2-inch garden hose. We're getting fiber optic here soon. Hopefully my internet will be better than it I got right now. And they're trying to sell you something. They're trying to sell me faster internet. Why not just fix what I got? Because 100 meg is plenty. Now they want to sell me 400 meg. So basically, when you're doing an ink job, if you don't have any experience of what panel lines look like, get a model of an airplane or a 3 view of what panel lines look like. You don't want toilets and cabinets and different things on your airplane, and I've seen it. So let's see, what do you say here? It took them years to get, yeah. Okay, you want to have some symmetry. So this is why I have this ruler here. We're going to go with the ink line up to that ruler. It's approximately 3/8 of an inch away from the trailing edge. We're going to need a trailing edge line and a leading edge line, and then maybe a split in the center. One less ink line is better than one too many. So we want to run this out. Let me get my square here. If I can find it. There it is. We're going to run this out to 15 because I want to have something for a wingtip cap. So we'll go to 12.5. Hold the ruler down, hold the pen straight. You want to do an even stroke. You get one chance. Model airplanes, there's a lot of one chances. Straight up and off. Okay, first ink line's laid. So now let's do the other side, one line, just to keep it symmetric. Gonna lay it up there approximately where it goes, parallel to the trailing edge. Put our ruler up against the fuselage. And all that is a starting point. We're going to go to 12.5, which is, you can measure all this out, but I just do it by eye. There we go. Now we got it on there. And then because I use this this ruler here, I'm going to make the line up against the fuselage right from this ruler because it's taped off, so I have a well, we can do it that way too. Looks like it might be down a little bit on there. There we go. Now that has a little tail on it where I kind of missed the end. Don't worry about it now. We'll scrape that off before we clear it. And I'm moving around a little bit. Hope your holiday season is merry and bright. It is. Thank you, Todd. It's going to be an interesting year, I can tell you that. I don't know, can you guys even see the ink lines? It doesn't look like it. Can't tell. When I get to another spot, I'll bring the camera in a little closer. That's another thing. Don't smear the ink, because it don't dry really fast. But I have my airbrush all set up for setting it, so we'll do that here in a second. I don't have to run the compressor because it's full, and it don't take much pressure unless it leaks out. I need a new air hose, it's leaking. if you make a mistake, see there's a little tail there? If you make a mistake, you can wipe it off with alcohol, but try to refrain from doing that. And that's the reason why you start on the bottom, to get in your groove. Okay, I have a line there. I'm going to put a wingtip on it now, so I'm going to make a parallel line that goes all the way back on the elevators to that mark. And that's just something that I came up with looking right here. I mean, I kind of ink as I go. What do I think will look good? The only problem is around leading and trailing edges. You can get really crazy with ink. Ink doesn't weigh anything. So, you know, you could put 10 bottles of ink on something, but boy, it sure looked busy. I've seen some pretty busy airplanes. Look at Gene Martin's airplane. Well, I can't remember what the name of that airplane was, but man, it had a lot of ink on it. But if that's what you like, okay. Yeah, a little bit crooked. Can I live with that? Yeah, it's a couple of thousandths. I'll think about it before I set it. This side came out perfect. This side. This side came out a couple of thousandths difference. Well, I better fix it or else Jim Lynch will go, hey, what are we going to do about that? I got plenty of time. So today will be a day of ink. I should get it all inked out. See, I just took that line off. And tomorrow will be a day of clear and sanding. And the next day, and the next day. All the way up until I go back. I do have a few things I need to do around here, but that I won't do like Wendy does. I'll do them off camera. Okay, so now I need to make that line parallel. For some reason it didn't get parallel. And I mean, it was only out maybe by 5 thousandths. But I am shooting to take this to the net, so I want it perfect. Unlike airplanes, much better. unlike airplanes that I flew last year or the year before or whatever, where I just was kind of in a hurry to get them done and not worry about it. You know, this airplane's 8 months old, and I've got quite a bit of time before March or April, so I can, you know, for practicing and all that. Because we're not gifted like the California boys here in the Midwest. We only have a couple of months flying time, really. Okay, so I've got that where I want it. I'm going to put a piece of tape on it, if I can find it. Remember, you want to use India ink for paper and film. That's why I want to put a piece of tape on it. I just moved it. Come on. There's nothing very difficult about this. It's just knowing the right tools, the right procedures. Okay, do the other side. Oops. I bumped it there. Still a little choppy. Let's see what the bandwidth is here. Drop frame 0, live, recorded. CPU's at 77%. You know, I might have to get another computer just for streaming. Moved. I know this is relatively boring too, but this is stuff that has to be done. Some guys don't know how to ink, don't know what to use, so I don't know what to post anymore. That's what's nice about having a million channels. Okay. These are just accent lines, so you don't need 10 million of them. Now normally on a movable surface there's a trim tab. I'll wait to put the trim tabs on it until I dig out the trim tab template. There'll also be, maybe put one, let's see here. We'll put one going this way and an inspection cover and some hinge. These architectural templates help pretty much. There's never any triangles on an airplane. There's never any toilets. There's never any, I mean, it's circles and ovals, because the way an aircraft is designed, they're looking for stress relievers. So if you put a triangle on it or a square hatch that has no rounded corners, that's where the skin is going to crack, right there. So all hatches have rounded corners. So let's see if this is dry enough to pick this little tail off. Yep. You just scrape it with a number 11 X-Acto blade. See, there's a tail right there. I'm not sure that's dry enough. This is the second line I did. Now, you couldn't do this if you didn't have any clear on it. I better try to refrain from rubbing it, though, because if you rub it, it'll smear it. But I would suggest fixing all the boogers as you go, because if you don't, you'll get so far ahead of yourself you'll never be able to catch up. Okay, so we have that done. Let's do turn it over and do the top, I think. Now, I do a lot of freehand inking. I'm very artistic. I was a sign painter. I did stripe motorcycles and cars. I don't suggest that the average guy do that. And needs a little more sanding right there. Here, can you hear that rough spot? The spot I missed. I found some dark spots in the fuselage where I just dusted some white over the dark spots. Let me take this off and get around that. You know, these, like I say, these models are, how good do you want it? When are you going to abandon it? And pretty soon you get so tired of it, you just say, ah, that's enough. There's some guys at the Nats that build really good. Of course, like when I was doing appearance judging, I only had a minute to look at it. If I sat and studied it, I'm sure I could find all the usual errors. Now, I just took a minute there to sand out that rough spot. And you can't really see it here, but in the end result, it shows attention to detail. So let's turn it over and do the top of the elevator. Maybe I can get an idea what I want to do. I don't want to busy it up too much. Oh, I do need a line attachment point next to the fuselage. One thing I was told by an appearance judge, I can't remember who, it might have been Keith Trossel. One less line, and if you can't do the line perfectly, don't do them at all. And it kind of makes sense, you know. I've seen airplanes that are just beautiful with nothing, no ink lines on them or whatever, and that's the you know, that's the choice of the maker. So let's I guess maybe I just do this wing here. We'll do a wing panel. Now let me move the camera so you can see what I'm doing. Wings are a little different. Wings are normally split. The big, what I do, let's put it that way. What I do is I try to make a aileron and a flap. So this snap-on will be on the aileron. We'll use this, and you got to remember that number. And because wings aren't straight, we're going to try to keep this line parallel with the trailing edge of the flap, if that makes sense. Let me get my dressmaker's tape if I can find it. I know I brought it. Yeah. Thought I brought it. Well, I can't find it. I know it's here. We'll just measure it with a ruler. So we'll get a ruler, cork ruler. Now I have different size cork rulers. One I use for elevators and stabilizers, and one I use for wings. It's a 2-foot, that's an 18-inch. So I need to prepare this again, so take and sand it out. These things get little gobs of CA on them or whatever, and that will ruin your day as far as an ink line goes, so I suggest you clean the utensils before using. And we'll get a little alcohol and wipe this off. Looks like I got a bit of cork chewed out the end of it. And you ask, why did I change rulers? Well, a wing is longer than 18 inches, but not normally longer than 24. And you say, well, how can it be 24? Because we got a 60-inch wing, it should be 30. Well, get the fuselage in the way, take away 2 inches. You got a couple inches on each end, because the ink line never runs into the fuselage. At least I never run in them in the fuselage. So 24 inches works. I'm going to put a piece of tape, a couple rows of tape on the back of this, because it has a chunk out of it. I don't want to mar my finish. Looks like this computer's struggling. Is this necessary? No, I just don't want to mar the finish in case there's some smuts on the back of this cork. So it's just as easy to put a bit of tape on there, added insurance. We'll do an hour, and then I'm going to go do some shopping. I might go out and get another computer. One specifically for streaming. Okay, want to measure. See what the half span is. So it's 12. Well, I don't have a pencil. So I don't have a pencil. I don't use pencils here. What are these? Are these 300s? 50, 142, 300s. Yeah, let's put on some super glasses. Make it up. I can see what I'm doing. I'm sorry, I knew this would be boring. Well, the hard drive's a terabyte on this. I don't think the hard drive is the question. I think it's all the other programs that I'm running in this. All the CAD programs. I think there's some cross-registry business going on. You know what? I can't see as good with these as I can with my regular glasses. Oh well. Wipe these out and see if I can see better. What the heck? Come on. Okay. Let's let it rip. I just needed to clean them off. I didn't need a higher power. I just needed to wipe them off. Could be the government trying to hack me. Okay, so let's measure over 12 inches. This is the center line we're going to use. We're going to use 12 inches on each side. Make a mark on the ruler so I center, so I remember where I'm at. We're going to make a dot here on the center. And now I need to make a 90-degree turn going forward from the trailing edge. And that's the flap split. So we can do it this way. Come on. You guys bored yet? I'm using that as a bump for my triangle. Wish I had my good triangles here. They're back in Dayton. Now it looks crooked, but it ain't. So we'll make the first line here. Remember, we can always wipe it off, but don't want to do that. And let's see here. We want the spars running with the sheeting or spars running straight. Now for ease, we'll I think we'll run them parallel, but we'll run them back this way. So I may not like this. I may wipe it all off. But I have that option because it is cleared. You're not in a rush, so double check your work. This should be square. 3, 4, 5 is square. Looks pretty good. Could be off a couple of thousandths. Yeah, it's off just a smidge. Let's bump it over. Oh, it's the back side. Okay, tape it down. That's square to the trailing edge. If I don't move it. Now we're going to go from, now this is dangerous. This is a sharp pen. It's like running a pin on top of the soak span. So this requires a touch. Enough pressure to get the ink to flow, but not poke through the soak span. Okay, we got a line there, so 12. And remember, I want to keep parallel to the trailing edge of the flap. And I just do it by eye, but normally what I do is set the ruler right down on the trailing edge, right at the ink line. And eyeball it. Just make sure these lines are parallel to each other. Because I have these winglets on here, I think I'm going to do this a little different. I think I'll just make the flap to that spot. Okay. That's pretty close. Yeah, it's pretty close. Now, basically what I do is we're going to go a ½ inch in again from the fuselage, which is approximately what this ruler is. We'll set that there. That's where my attachment points are going to be. And this side gets 2 lines for the flaps. Ailerons get 1, flaps get 2. So we're going to set that right on top of that. And we're keeping it in the same parallel line as the trailing edge, or approximately. And I don't like it. What happened was I don't like this line. I didn't get that line quite right. Can't tell what's up here. Well, we'll put this one on. If I got to change that line, I can. But I need to get one side set the way that I like it. You know what? Let's measure it. That'd be easy enough. Just measure the damn thing. Three and a quarter. Three and a quarter. That's it right there. So this one must be off a little bit. So now I'm going to get a line down both sides of this ruler. Wait a minute. Actually, I want to drop it down to here. Let's see here. How am I going to do this? Been so long since I inked a damn airplane with any okay, that's the top. Two and three quarters. 2 3/4. Okay, that'll work right there, like that. Two lines. Let's see if we can get away with it. If it don't look good, I'll wipe it off. It'll be a mess, though. One. Okay. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, pretty good. It's parallel. Then I just got to make them on the other side. So this is the flap area. This is, I'm not even going to change that because they're close enough you can't tell. It's only a few thousandths. I could spend hours doing that shit. But I need a wingtip. So I need to tape this on to the trailing edge and get a wingtip. I was going to cut it off here. I don't think it'll look very good. So We'll extend it out. And trust me, buddy, you can spend hours doing this. So we'll go right along the weight box line. So what I've done is I'm going to incorporate the weight box as an ink line. There's a cheater for you. Cowl line will be an ink line, weight box will be an ink line. Now the start and stop method I'm doing here is not recommended, but I do a lot of stuff that's not recommended. Very hard to get the line to continue on and not show a mistake. But I did it. We'll just use that as the ink line. Wipe that off. Okay. So now the flap will go all the way out. I guess, yeah, that'll work. We'll go all the way out to the tip. Or maybe I'll end. But I'll tell you this, after I get this line drawn, I'm going to the other side. Because if you get so far ahead of yourself, how old is the router? Well, it's pretty old. You never thought of that. Could be the router. Might need a firmware update or something. I just hate to update anything because they're spying so damn much. Anyway, you guys get the idea of what I'm doing today. Been on an hour. I think I'll look into firmware update on the router and see if that's it. So I appreciate you watching. I'll be back later on this afternoon when I get some more done and maybe a new computer or whatever it takes to get better video for you. Alright guys, see you after a bit.